Where do we stand today? For that, we invited a few panelists, which I'd now like to come on stage, please. And give them a hand. Yes, come on. Hey, the basic idea is, just take a seat, please. The basic idea is, as I said, to engage a conversation between us, between you, between all of us in the room, also with our remote friends. Again, I've also got the chat here if you like to raise a point or ask a question. So I'm observing the chat here, and of course I'm going to read the questions. But first of all, let's start with our panelists. First in the row is Ahmed Bebars. He's going to do a keynote later on platform engineering. Ahmed, tell us in 2 words who you are and what you're doing, please.
I do infrastructure for the New York Times.
Almudena Vivanco Gonzalez.
No.
Yeah.
Come on. So I'm a performance engineer, one of those weird creatures in the infrastructure. And I work for Schwarzgruppe, so for Lidl. I expect you all to buy there.
Shall we try this one?
Hello, Martinez.
I'm technology architect, and I'm working as an executive consultant for DevOps Matters, and recently director of entity data.
Erkan Jana.
Geht doch. I'm Erkan Jana, Freiberufler consultant. I've got no clue about DevOps, but I love to be here.
The Kubernetes guy. Yeah. Cool. So the idea is, as I said, to engage a conversation, and it should be your space in case you want to ask a question, in case you want to make a comment, in case you like to discuss a specific topic. Raise your hand. Dave is going to help and is going to bring you the microphone. Yeah? Yeah. And we are starting with a little survey, just to engage the conversation. And we have prepared a few more polls, surveys, yeah? And these give us all an opportunity to think about a topic. And if it's interesting, we discuss it. And if you don't like it, we switch over to the next one, okay? So, first of all, please open up your mobile phone and scan this or go to menti.com because then you can contribute. And we are going to see the results in real time right here on screen. Yeah? If you just go there, and then we are, should I move on? Still a few people scanning. So the info continues to be on top of the page. So first of all, we said, okay, let's start with a, let's say, maybe a very weird or very global question. DevOps maturity. There are those maturity models for almost everything out there, and some people like it, some people do not like it. We just said, okay, let's use it as a starting point. Yeah. So level number 1 is something like almost zero DevOps, whatever that means. That could mean something like there are some ad hoc initiatives, there are some ad hoc experiments, but teams are kind of working isolated from each other. Typical communication between teams is hard. Well, there's almost no DevOps yet. Stage number 2 is more this kind of initial collaboration initiatives across departments. So it's first attempts, it's first successful way how to connect people, how to connect communications, how to connect kind of pipelines. Number 3 would then mean, okay, nice automation implemented. So you know pretty well what you are doing, and you do not only know it, but it's working in an automated way. With all the consequences that it can have. Number 4 is more like advanced DevOps. Yeah, you've reached a decent level of automation in your organization, and you got this, let's call it, culture of continuous improvement. So everybody in the whole team sees, okay, this is a journey. We are all in a journey, and it's about learning, and it's about bringing back the learnings to implementations. And last but not least, of course, this is the thing, continuous everything. So the full organization is technically and also socially and people-wise fully prepared to continuously learning, continuously changing, continuously bringing stuff into practice. Very rough. But let's start with that, and we start with you commenting on that. Where do you think is your organization standing these days? And please do not be shy. It's really about an exchange, and it's also for us interesting to learn. Yeah, where are you staying? Nobody dares to go number one. Yeah, it could well also be maybe that you decided, okay, let's look at this DevOps thing in a DevOps conference. But this is
a brave one.
yeah. Maybe somebody did it just to fill it. Yeah, we need something blue on the. No. That is a result I would say I expected more or less a really decent level, right, of professionalism when it comes to DevOps. And on the other hand, the interesting thing is about this stage number 5. To be honest, I'm asking myself, does it really mean? Does it mean you reach a certain stage and says, yes, I'm DevOps now? Probably not. Yeah. So, so what do you guys think? Is this something you see also in your organizations, Ahmed?
Yeah, I think that's where like I feel like we are at as the New York Times between like the 3 last levels, where like it varies between how we move from like every team doing their own stuff to like have more centralized CI/CD, and then move into like more high automations and like onboarding and offboarding for teams. I don't know what's really mean by continuous everything. This is just like God level of DevOps.
The God level.
Yeah, just don't know what does that really mean. But from a high level perspective, I think high automation, continuous improvement, that's where like we strive for. Like teams are being onboarded into like centralized CI/CD systems. They can onboard their services automatically, more self-service. Like it goes more towards like platform engineering, where like everything is offered as self-service. That's what I expect. I also worked in an organization where like we're level 2, like it just like it's really started. People are doing things manually, or like how to get to the next level. But most of the organizations that I worked on were like between level 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So for me, I think we are right now out of the chart, because we get the point that all the squads get everything running, build, you run it, you build it, you run it. All the squads got the product squads with development and SREs. They all have everything running, but the point is that all the squads are different. They are running things different. So we ended with 1,000 of harbors, 1,000 of Argo CD, 1,000 of Kubernetes around with different templates. So we are out of the charts, and that's when now we are trying to get a platform engineering just to regulate all the stuff, because it's crazy there. But yeah, I think that it's like a continuous improvement. So you need to reach a point where you are going back to relearn what you have done and to revisit all that.
Yeah, well, from my side, I've been able to work with a lot of different enterprise companies during the years. And it depends on the company, but you can see some teams that sometimes they are at level 4, level 5. Usually big enterprise organizations, even they have a couple of teams, couple of programs at high mature level. Most of them, they usually stay around level 2, level 3. So I like to see this maturity level here in the audience. I have a question for you. How many of you go to production directly without needing any request from anyone else? So you just push code and it goes to production. Okay. Because at the end, that's a little bit kind of like the goal. But yeah, something that I notice is like companies that they were, let's say, level 4 5 years ago, and nowadays, if they didn't evolve, they are now level 3, because DevOps and technology, processes, organization,
That's interesting.
new ways of working are evolving continuously, and if you don't evolve with them, then you are lacking something, and then you are going backwards, and it's something that I've seen it quite a lot of times.
Hakan, what do you see in the
What was the
companies
question? Yeah.
where you are helping?
Pan, what was the question again? HAS, I phase out sometimes.
Do you see a trend in the organizations where you are you are helping, where they are standing in this
Okay,
structure?
I got it. DevOps, I would like to split it into a technical answer and into this cultural stuff.
Yeah.
And technically, I see a lot of movement, utilizing the opportunities you've got, blocked by cultural discussions. To simplify it, okay? Maybe we can talk about this later, but right now.
Yeah. Any comments from your side? Because the question, I think that is really interesting what you just raised. The landscape is constantly changing, right? So what you said, you might feel like, okay, we are here, but after a while, if you miss some things, you fall back to something else. And as you also said, Almudena, it's kind of multidimensional, because there's so many challenges on so many different levels. And what I find of fascinating is that there are so many problems and challenges and things to do on so many different levels, all prior number one at the same time, and how to get through that mess. Ahmed, you got an idea?
How to get through the mess of DevOps in general?
In general, because again, if we follow that metaphor, going from here to there, it's so many initiatives needed on so many different levels, technical levels, cultural, communications, etc., etc. So if you cannot do everything at the same time, how to deal with that?
I don't think, like, from what I have seen from practice, you can do everything all at a single time. Like, what you can do is improve like each piece alone, or like, for example, like, let's start. Usually teams start with CI first. They don't do CD, and then they get like all of the CI in place. They do their builds, they do all of the automations, and then they go to the CD level. Like, what I have seen evolving over the years is that like you don't start by a word platform engineering at the end of the day. You start by like, okay, now we have like the GetOps model in place. Now we have like centralized security in place. Now we have like central pieces. So it's evolved from like different processes all over the year to get to the final level. That's like how you evolve over the years. Like as it's been said, like if you are in level 5 over a couple of years, you will downgrade to level 4 if you don't like go from like, for example, like from virtual machines to containers, because that's where like, okay, now you are in virtual machines, container comes, and now we're talking about serverless, now we talk about other things. So that's how you evolve step by step. And also it's, the whole idea is it's organizational, it's culture. It's not like a team has to drive. It's like you have to deliver what teams want. So if I work with a lot of teams, which what we have as a centralized team work on platforms, we need to deliver what they really need. Because sometimes we look at something shiny and think like, that's what we need to implement. But it's wrong, because this is not what teams want. Also, like there are different asks from different organizations. So like, as in New York Times, we have like different teams. So our mobile team has different asks from like our web team. Like their CI process is completely different from like another CI process. We have other teams have a different production setup for them. So each team has a different level, and maybe you can have a process that sits centralized overall without the tooling, without everything, and that's where you take it to the next level with the teams. But teams has to understand what they really mean by automation. They need to help you. It's not like, it's not one-way street, as I say, it's two ways. So whatever process you have to implement, they have to enforce, and vice versa.
So for us, as we said before, I'm in an organization that we have like 33 product teams. And there was a point where each of the teams were like like handling everything. They were managing all the stuff they wanted, all the fancy words they wanted, all the fancy service meshes, all the fancy everything. So we ended with having a hell of products of the Kubernetes ecosystem, of the projects in the CNCF. So it was a bit of a mess. So what we did is to create a cross-team along with the platform team. So the platform team is delivering tools for the product teams. But we have as well a cross team. I'm part of that cross team. That we set best practices, boundaries. We before going to the platform, we just encourage the teams to have like a POC, or just to create a benchmark. For example, the last benchmarks we did, it was among several different service meshes, Istio, Linkerd, that kind of stuff. So we do a benchmark, and we try to push to the teams which is the best solution for them before having all the different products in all the products and all the solutions that we have in the house. So I think that's like two levels. Like the squad team is always the owner of the solution. Always, they build it, they run it, they are the owners and accountable for it and responsible. Then there's a cross team that we just provide like a consultant, we try to provide them the insights, and then the platform team, that they are the ones that are providing the solutions for the product teams and making life easier. I think that's how we solve it.
Is anybody from the audience who maybe would like to tell us a little bit how they are dealing with that kind of questions? So feel free to raise your hand and feel invited. Or if you'd like to ask a question, etc., that's the opportunity now. Here are the experts.
We cannot believe you are not in hell at some point. Don't you have like 15 different kinds of JavaScript engines, something like that? No? No one? It's only you and me suffering for it? Oh my God.
Yeah, I think it's a very tricky question, to be honest. I don't think there is a single answer that will be valid for everyone. It depends on the size of the company, technologies, mentality of the people, skills. At the end, DevOps is for the entire company, not the technical teams, although they are going to apply it, but it goes way beyond that. Yeah, to deal with the mess, I think first of all, it's important to know where you are. We talk again the maturity things, but I would go not just with the maturity where you answer a couple of questions and then, okay, you are there. I think it's important to understand everything from a level expert on, okay, this is the process that you have, the organization that you have that supports everything, or it does not support anything, technologies, tools, and so on, analyze at the global level, and then define the path to move forward to bring a little bit of consistency and a roadmap of execution. You have to cover at the end the part of processes, because some processes are going to change, for sure. You are going to change parts of organization because we will work differently. Maybe you incorporate, just a simple thing, QA people into the development teams, which for some companies this is a huge thing. And you're going to change, of course, technologies and tools to enable efficiency and do things better. I think one of the first steps that is very important, and we pass it sometimes, is learning, education. We need to speak the same language. I've been in a lot of places, a lot of clients where they want to go into DevOps, or they say they are DevOps or whatever about DevOps, even Agile. And most of the people, they have no clue about what is DevOps, what it means DevOps, what's the philosophy of DevOps, why you might want to use or not use containers, cloud, and any other thing, and same thing for Agile. Some companies, they are moving towards this direction, and still you see like there is no knowledge of what's agility in general. So I think education is one of the key points. So we speak the same language, everyone speaks the same language, and then you start moving forward from there in all the areas that builds DevOps. So it's very tricky domain. You need a lot of, but rapid strategy at the beginning, like 1 month strategy, something like that, to define everything together with the people who are really doing the heavy work and with the leadership to get support from them. So just be aligned and then start moving from there in really quick wins, baby steps, as I usually say, baby steps moving forward, because you need to focus on the quick wins.
Great. Yeah, nothing to add. I've got an agenda, maybe you know it. I've always given 2 answers. One is trying to talk something about technical stuff. So this means with, of course, Kubernetes, because it's the only thing I can do. We've got a lot of technical opportunities. The other thing, and we didn't have any common definition of DevOps, but we think we know what we're talking about, is how to utilize the change, the opportunities that we've got. And maybe, because I'm working most of the time in DACH or Germany, there's maybe another culture in adopting new stuff and let's not say overthinking, but we've got a lot of Bedenkenträger, and if you don't understand the word Bedenkenträger, then it's good, because you are not part of the problem.
I suffer.
But, but Erkan has a question, because you said you are the technical guy. To which degree do you see that, let's say, technology and innovation in technology and, let's say, making an appropriate use of technology, yeah, to which degree does it correspond also with, of course, the organization as a framework? So can you create value from some technology innovation in a framework which maybe doesn't appreciate it?
Even there. So I think one of to be honest, I've got no clue about IT. I studied sociology, and this is where I come from. Sorry, and I'm having a very good. The technique we've got, they are great, but even in a bad company, they can bring benefits. Mm-hmm. So it isn't that you introduce Kubernetes and everyone is going to be equal and we love each other. Why? There's no correlation. There's just some opportunities, and there are different ways to organize work, and work doesn't need to be organized the same way, because maybe, let's not stress the word culture, because it's too racist, but in sociology we've got some kind of milieux, so it depends on your team, how it works. We've got shift left, shift right, everything works fine with the technique. So it's, for me, hard to give an answer how DevOps is going. So it's going to work. We've got a technique that's great. It's getting better and better, and you need to keep up. And the other thing is it's a big problem.
Another question. Here's a comment. And then also here on the web. First comment, you get an extra T-shirt. Oh,
I already have. Thank you for that.
Please take it.
I have a question. Maybe one of you can answer based on your experience, or if you come across that. A large organizations where basically there are different departments, different divisions, different business groups. The things are managed by different departments. So infrastructure is completely isolated from the business application layer, from the products. And in the business or in the product team, we wish to implement DevOps, but the things are really, really isolated. So have you come across any such experience, and what will be your suggestion? How do we bring this together to make the DevOps happen?
The first way. I'm not sure if you heard about the first way, second, third way, coming from the Jim Kim, the Phoenix book. Well, the philosophy of DevOps is, first of all, we need to be aligned. We need to be together as a company. As a company, we should share the same goal. We want to deliver value to somewhere. And you might work in one department, you're in another, you're in wherever, but the goal is the same for the company. I think the first thing you need to do in this kind of cases where you have a lot of silos, and this is a very tricky political situation, which probably everyone hates. Well, some people won't, because ivory towers where you are the king or the owner of the tower, and you don't want other people to pass by you or whatever. You need education. They need to understand that it's a benefit from them when we collaborate, when we change the way we work, in order to do things together. Don't be a proxy, because this is basically one of the biggest issues, where you have these silos, these proxies and of dependencies at the end. You are blocking everything. So it's important that you, or a team, or whoever is helping company to go into DevOps, they make noise on that, and they say like, okay, every time a team needs to do whatever, they need to pass by this ivory tower, and it takes this amount of time because you are creating a dependency. And that's why you need as well the leadership support, because if this tower doesn't want to help you out, then you might need to go to the leadership support and say like, look, 30% of our time goes there waiting for these people to do something or this department to do something. You need to do something on that because it's a lot of time. So you might need to go that way. You need to reflect the value of, or the non-value of why we have that.
And in nobody's got an answer because it's about power and convincing people to get rid of power for the sake of the company. So why? Why should I've got a team of 20 people, why should I get rid of my opportunities and lose power for the sake of a company? So I think this is the problem you've got, and leadership, but if you want to change something, you need to understand the structure of a company and maybe address people you don't need anymore. You need the ops, of course. You always need ops, but you don't need some other people.
Here's another comment or question from the chat. So let me please read it. Who is in the lead of transition to the next level, platform or product? We are experiencing that product teams want to adopt the tools, their way of working, rather than accept the best practices. Any idea?
I have that problem right now. So we are building right now the platform team, the platform domain engineering team. But what we see and what I see value in is that the product team is the owner. So they are the ones that have the necessity. So they have to deliver. They have to be vocal and say, I need to do this. What is the best way to do it? And how can I be better at it? So that necessity is taken to the platform team, to the platform engineering team, and they work with what the product team has developed. Usually, for example, what happened with Argo. So one product team started doing Argo, and they said, oh, okay, this is cool. Let's get it to platform. And platform said, okay, but for the other 32 teams, 32 squads, we need to do this and this and this improvement and this enhancement, and we will deliver for all the company. So I think that the product team is the owner. They have the necessities. They are the ones that are working close to the solution. Their necessities are covered later in the platform team. Do you agree, Ahmed?
Yeah, so this is a tricky problem for what people need versus what they actually need. Yeah. So, like, work with a lot of product team and they say like, hey, we need this. Like, and then you go in and then like, do you really need it? It's to explain to them like if they need it or not. Some cases, yes, they already know what they need and that's exactly what they need. But the way to, if I give you a book to read it, you may read it and you may not. But like if I sit with you and summarize it really quickly, you'll listen at least, or at least you'll hear me out if you have. So if I give you some best practices and say like, hey, implement this, you will get better. I don't think that will work in most organizations. People will do it sometimes, sometimes not. But if I give you the tools with best practices embedded into it and just like let you do it or like enable you to do it, that would be like an easier approach for. So I can build you a CI and CD tool, say, hey, here's your CI, here's your CD. When you need them, just use them. And then like you have to go through all of the processes to implement it into your like development lifecycle and all of the pieces to make it work. But then I can offer you the whole lifecycle and just ask you like, okay, commit your code here, and then everything you need is there. That's where like I offer you as a full service. So like there's no way that like unless you like the hard, unless you want to make your hard miserable and make it more complex, you go, no, I don't wanna get your services. I will implement my own. But in usual practice, if like I offer you something that works and fits most of your needs, I'm not gonna say like 100% because usually it doesn't. If it's like 80, 90% of your needs, you will take it and you will start customize on it. So that's where like you embed all of your practices. Like if I offer you a CI/CD and I implement like security checks, implement like things like building the containers, implement like all of the things that like we think and the industry think like this is the best practices for you to get. So that's like how you, I don't want to say like force your stuff, but like if you offer just a book, I don't think it's easy for people to read it. But if you offer like the book with a solution, with everything together, that's where people like, well, okay, I'll try it. I will not waste money on implementing it because it's already implemented for me. So I'm just going to use it.
Another question from the chat. Sometimes there are insurmountable hurdles to integration. As a result, tools do not work together, even though they should. It takes time to find another tool for these tasks. We also always come to a point where we ask ourselves, are we really the first to have found these integration hurdles? Question mark. Probably not. Probably you're not the first, yeah? And that's why it's important to connect and to exchange.
Yeah, most likely they won't be the first. Depends on the technology that you are using. If you are using maybe certain very niche technology domain, as it could be, I don't know, something with mainframes, with COBOL, with DB2, with SAP, with, I don't know, these kind of technologies, with Drupal, that they are not built, let's say, with a DevOps mindset on top of. That can happen that you cannot find or you are hardly find the path what you are looking for in order to, you know, automate the whole delivery. That could happen. Even that, these solutions, most of the times you can find in the market certain things that helps you out. Most of the times when you cannot find or you have issues integrating technologies in the DevOps world is because probably you lack a little bit of knowledge of what are the solutions available in the market and how do they work. Because if we see to the DevOps tool stack that we have in the market, we have, I don't know, probably more than 1,000 different applications, tools, solutions that they are API first. So at the end, you can integrate almost anything with anything. I don't know if you know the periodic table of DevOps tools or the CNFC tooling. Yeah, we see there more than 300 tools that they are proved to work perfectly. So what I've noticed in some companies and clients is that they select certain tools because of, I don't know who decided that. These tools, they don't make sense at all. They are old, they don't integrate, they don't work well, they are really old-fashioned, and they force you to use that. That's an issue. Because, I don't know, you have other tools in the market that they actually work pretty well, they do this thing way better, and you are forced to use something else that does not fit. I think that's the problem. Most of the times when I notice these things is that a company or some people force you to use certain tool stack or certain tooling, and sorry, but this does not work. This is old, and yeah, you need to find an alternative. And there are alternatives in the market. You can probably ask now GPT, and that will bring it to you. Maybe you have certain experiences in the domain of Kubernetes with all the amount of tools that they are there.
Yes, I have.
You want to mention something on that?
Yeah.
Thanks for your answer.
No. We don't know what was the experience, and if you want to give an evil answer, and I'm eager to give an evil answer, as mentioned with Kubernetes, an example, not DevOps. The way of API first, the way of working, the declarative approaches, resilient approaches, they are, you need to implement them so things work smoothly. And most of the time, and I don't know the person asking the question, maybe most likely he still tries to, the person still tries to, or the persona still tries to use the so-called legacy approach of managing the software and try to fit it into Kubernetes. Maybe this is the point. Maybe not. We know nothing. But very important. But the lessons learned for the audience is to utilize the benefit of the technique. Not about DevOps. About the technique is have a look at your application, and if your application fits into the model, life is so wonderful. Really.
Another question. How do you handle the nemesis of CD in bigger organizations? Change management with 3-day lead time on change requests. Do you understand the question?
Can you? It's a German question. What was it again?
I do not really understand it, to be honest.
No.
Okay, so maybe Martin.
No. The thing is, it's
I
a
can
typical question from parts of Germany where you've got FIPS and all the regulations, what to do and how to do, and who's responsible, and you need to save data for 10 years, etc., etc., etc. So we are also working in a very highly regulated environment.
Yeah.
And then the idea of wonderful DevOps heroes, I mean dev heroes, running around doesn't fit into the model. And I think this is the question about. And this is a question of power, because there are people regulating, telling you how to work, and you try to fit, and it doesn't. There are contradictions, and this is we suffer.
Yeah.
But one answer could be, and this could be the idea about DevSecOps, trying to make the shift left and giving the devs much less power, so we can regulate much more and automate. Because automation was a very good point, and we can automate a lot of the things. We can automate much more, and maybe still need to wait 3 days, but everything is SOX compliant and everything works fine. I'm just looking at you because you look awesome. I'm not looking at you because I know where you're working.
I think we are afraid of going to production. Most of the times, especially big companies, they are afraid to go to production. They don't trust machines to do this step for them. And of course, you need to have a lot of automation in terms of testing, validation, security, all kind of things. And even if you have that in place, still most of the companies, they are afraid of going to production. And it doesn't matter if you do it manually, you do with machines. It's kind of like this step, the last step of the step that actually brings value, that you are afraid. Probably it's because of traditional approach of big go-lives, big releases, where you were even spending 2 weeks there in a room with other people, fine-tuning everything. Technology solutions have changed a lot. Now it's kind of like safe going to production. You can put in place proper rollbacks, strategies that automatically will tear down everything if it does not work well and put you back previous version. The part of DevSecOps, as you mentioned, is also very important. Which goes together with the question of the silos. If you have a department of security that they don't care, they are not working together with you, you will reach the end of the journey, and then we'll check, and then you cannot go to production. Okay, what shall I fix? No, that's not my problem. I'm just telling you that you cannot. And it's kind of like, yeah, you are not, it's not accountable for not going to production, this department. So if we take the DevSecOps approach, I hate DevOps word, like you, also DevSecOps.
I love it.
But if we put the security as accountable as well, as part of the team, if we don't go to production because of something, also they are accountable for that. They are responsible for that. So it's a way of shifting left, like, okay, you need to check that everything is fine from the beginning. So I think, again, it's a very cultural change of, okay, don't be afraid of going to production. This is what matters. The more frequent we can go there, you will remove the pain, and then you will see, like, hey, things work better. We can hear yesterday Booking.com. They were going to production like crazy, like testing in production. And I would say Booking is one of the biggest companies in the DevOps world, and of course in the world, not only the DevOps. And they were going like crazy to production because they were not afraid of that. I mean, at the end, it's technology. You have certain regulations, you have certain solutions that help you out to ensure that you are fine. But then, come on, we do everything, testing, wherever, and then we take 1 week to go to production because we don't trust it? Come on.
Sorry, because of Booking.com, and the people from my workshop know the example all the time. and about power and changing power and all this stuff. But I think Booking.com is a very good example, and because in this DevOps, we've got devs and ops, and I'm eager always to say that the workflow of ops is not the same workflow as of devs. So, and I'm trying not to say something like Frauenarbeit, but ops are not there to change anything. Ops are there so things work for over 10, 20, 30 years. And now we try to teach ops to change continuously, to adopt new techniques. And Booking is a very nice example because they encourage you as ops to change something, and there's a budget for failures. So it's okay. It's okay. It's kind of okay if something doesn't work. But the experience of a typical ops, and I am really a typical ops, even if my taste of music isn't. I lost the point again. Ja, ich habe wirklich vergessen. No, is how do we convince people, teach for 30, 20, 10 years, never change a running system with an uptime fetishism, to change something on a daily basis. So this is something we need to encourage the people, because they learned by a very hard lesson. They learned from us, from our companies. If something's not working, you are going to be blamed. And now we are here and sitting there and saying, oh, you are so lazy, you want to change it. It's our fault. We just drilled them to work the way they do.
Just a quick remark about this.
Don't do it.
Things that we learned from COVID period. So well, you know, Lidl or Lidl Plus belongs, or SCRM belongs to Schwarzgruppe. So we have to deal with the German stuff. And we have these sprints of 100 days. It was fine. We were like, in Spain, we work in 15 days, but they were doing like 100. And then COVID burst. What happened? That we have to do changes on every single day. Now you can buy spirits from 6 o'clock. Now you have to buy something and you have to change it on the fly. And it was currently, and they say, oh, okay, we can touch production without having fear. Because we are going to break it, but we are going to recover fast and easy. We have to create the contact list. We managed in a weekend or something like that, Lidl Pay, that without contact. So COVID period, it was great for something. It was like to learn from mistakes, like going to production, going live. It wasn't the end of the world, that we could recover out of it, and we could manage and deliver fast and good software and good solutions for the people outside, that they were having bigger issues than us. So that for me was one of the things we learned from COVID period, and now we don't have the sprints of 100 days. They believe in us. I think there's a trust relation between Germany, Schwarz IT and SCRM, and that we deliver every 15 days or whatever. But I think that's something that we learned from COVID, and that's good.
Here's another comment.
So it sounds like there's a conflict of interest or a lack of leadership. So you basically have leadership pushing, or management pushing developers for fast delivery and go to production often. But the same management is also pushing operations to not make changes and keep everything stable. So what I'm hearing is that top management or whatever is basically not lifting their part of the responsibility. What are your thoughts on that?
The wall of confusion, I think it's called, what you're mentioning.
Oh, yeah.
We want change, we want stability. So absolutely. That's why I think it's important that you have leadership support to understand the whole picture. And it's like, guys, we want change and we want stability. We want both things. We want stable changes, basically. And I think that's the magic of DevOps at the end. In the past, we could not have that because when we were having a lot of changes, then you might have some issues, well, not really issues, but you need to put extra effort to check that everything was fine, stable, and so on. Nowadays, with the set of solutions that you have, technologies, well, that makes this step way, 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 way easier. Still, you need to be smart, and you need to know how to handle this thing, and then you need to get the point of view of operations to the developers so they understand, and you need to give the point of view of developers to operations so they do understand as well. And then, of course, you need support on the above because, hey, guys, you need to work together. You need to deliver change, but change that it's stable.
Of course, I agree, and what you said is very important. We can have both, but the very important point is when we use DevOps as a cultural word without changing structure, because we need to change structure to work in a way that we can deliver the stuff. So this, and as the first question mentioned, all the people having power and taking care about their Funde, and if this doesn't change, if they just say we've got DevOps, you get your VS Code and Pilot Pro Co. now be DevOps. It will not change because we reproduce ourselves, you see, sociology, in a system. And we need to adapt the system for the things we like to achieve. And if not, we've got this problem, ops versus devs, for good reason. But if the reason isn't there anymore, if we want to change it, we need to change the system, the structure, sorry, not the system, maybe later, but...
Here's another comment.
Good morning. So 20 years ago, we had system engineers who do the stuff for everyone. 15 years ago, we have specifically dev operations. Nowadays, on the conference, we have DevOps, DevSecOps, DevOps, GitOps, FinOps, AIOps, and all the other ops. So, yeah. And I'm just wondering, when they think we can so complicate, then we will have a node backend ops or something like that, and how we can avoid the getting a one-to-one ratio between ops and the functions, actually.
So first of all, I hate the labels. I mean that I would like to be called no ops, no ops at all. So one of the things is like there are no ops and no devs. We are all the same. We are in a product where we do stuff sometimes, and we break stuff. That's what I like. But yeah, in the end, you have these labels that we have this guy that is expert in DevSecOps, that they have the security, and he's accountable or responsible for the security center and managing check marks and that kind of stuff. And I refer to him if he's the expert. If I have a doubt, I go to him or to her. But I would say that we have to suppress, to eliminate, to erase all the labels. That we work for a mission that it's just to get a solution, a technical solution, a product outside, and we have to work together without any labels. Maybe you are an expert. You have a T-shape. Do you remember the T-shape? That's just like you have a real expertise, but that T-shape should be more like a V shape, now a V shape. You are more like you have to know about everything. That's something that you can have with cloud, with Kubernetes. You have to know about, not to be an expert on everything, maybe not an expert in security, but to know about security. Know how to deal with your check marks, with your sneak, your everything, because you are running it. So no labels, please. Or perfops, that's performance operations is a good one. No ops. I would say no ops at all. Yeah.
X-ops, mission ops.
Mission ops.
There's one last question here.
I think a very interesting point was missing confidence to go into production. So what can be done to mitigate it? So I think the main point is testing. If you have a test coverage which guarantees that the software in production will work with the same quality, let's say, as on the test system, then you don't have this problem to go into production, actually. What is with the new functions? So let's say you can go have automatic regression, which makes a coverage which gives you confidence. But each time when you are bringing the new features, you can have side effects. And these side effects take you this confidence away. So any idea on the way out?
So that's true, but some of the, like, there's one thing that I have seen, like, I believe in, like, I break it, I fix it. So it's all about, like, if I fail, I have to fail fast. So the point is, if it takes too long to understand what is the problem and how I can get back to the last version, that's where mostly, like, you feel less confident in what you push. But, like, if I push something and it's bad and I understand this quickly and then I revert it quickly, that makes stability not to the same point, but, like, make it like at least I understand the problem. So back to your point about regression and about how to test this in production, there are many ways you can do that. Like, there are rollouts, there are canary, there are different things that you can ensure while you move from one single environment to another, like how your tests are being performed. Like, you perform in lower environment to understand, like, end-to-end testing, how's this look like? And then, like, you perform another test, and then, like, you give it to a certain set of users. You're talking about side effects for how things are broken. It's all about the budget at the end of the day, just like how much you can afford to break in a certain feature. Because, like, believe it or not, things will be broken at a certain point, despite how much testing you could do. Like, I believe in
System back to the last state in 10 minutes. It doesn't help. Why? Because the image is already there. But what is a very important point, what you said, I think, if you have the possibility to separate part of the customer group to test this in the production, so somehow to make test system already, to bring the test system in the production, then this probably can mitigate the damage.
So yes, but I want to get back to one point. Like, it's all about how much can you afford to break. Because, like, if we look at any metrics, like, if you get like 99.90, that's good. If you try to go like 4 nines, that where, like, it gets expensive. So the more errors that I try to eliminate from the system, the more that I get into, like, more expensive maturity layers that will make me, like, spend too much effort on, like, how can I mitigate this? So, for example, like, there are systems that's built behind caching. If your entire system fails, you still serve something from the cache. It's stale, it's not what you're looking for, but, like, at least you serve something. So you mitigate the problem somehow. So at the end of the day, there's nothing perfect, but, like, at least some systems are different from another. So, like, I could say this about the systems that serve an API call that, like, someone can afford to lose, but, like, in an exchange level, like, if I work in Forex or industry, like, you can't make a purchase and then you see your stock is not there. That's going to be a problem. In the medical industry, things will be different. So it's all about understanding where are you, what can you afford to lose? Like, this is how I see it.
We are
just
already over time. We need to come to an end. Just a short final statement, please.
That you can see my talk about chaos engineering in production from last DevOps mission. I think it's in the platform, right? From last year, so you can see it there. You can break production. You shouldn't be scared of it.
Thank you very much. We are over time now. Please give a warm hand to our panelists, and also some applause to you for your contribution through the chat and right here. If you'd like to raise a more question, there's a coffee break, of course. Continue to discuss, continue to learn. Thank you so much.